I think Burna Boy's attitude there was wrong. They say his mom is his manager. I think it's important that he gets told some of these things. If you have self-control, I believe that in the heat of irritation, you'll be able to put yourself together. Still on my point of view on trending topics. So I would like to say a big thank you to all our subscribers so far and for our followers. I would also like to encourage those of you that are listening to us to please subscribe to our YouTube channel and turn on your notifications so that you'll be among those to receive our videos as soon as they drop. So yes, I said that we're starting a series on my point of view. So I'll be taking, you know, different trending topics and then set out my point of view about them and, put them on our channel for us to learn. I would also, in a lot of cases, sort of, you know, marry them or relate them with the corporate world and, lifestyle generally. So yeah, I would like to talk today about the Burna Boy situation. I personally felt that what he did was not right. It's important that we have self control, no matter the level we have attained. Yeah, he may probably have his point, but I also want to agree that he later realized that he was on the wrong side of things, and that's why I started making those posts of saying he had PTSD and they don't come on his stage, and the show was even free. You know, those were what's proving that he knew he was on the wrong side of things. Well, people may say, if you are not yet wealthy, you don't know how it feels to be extremely wealthy. Well, I know that there are a lot of people who have achieved so much. The likes of people like Shadi Okoya. I'm not aware of her ever being dramatic. Despite becoming a billionaire at a very young age. I have not, been on social media and seen any drama around her. And I know that there will be a lot of other people like that. Even Don Jazzy, he's been carrying himself well in the, industry. Look at our icon, Moabudu. We've been aware of her for ages. And I'm not aware of any drama of her, openly kicking people or ill treating people or speaking rudely to people. So I think Burna Boy's attitude there was wrong. They say his mom is his manager. I think it's important that he gets told some of these things. Being able to have self-control is a thing. If you have self-control, I believe that in the heat of irritation, you'll be able to put yourself together. And for somebody that is a global figure like that, I think he ought to have been put through such exposure, such trainings, and probably he should be on the increase. Like the people managing him should do more of that so that he can have proper self control because that action just stems from a place of poor self control, a place of someone that is not quite disciplined. The world is watching and you were truly, honestly able to act in such a way as if that was not enough, you walked out of the stage and then you are posting your regrets later. Bringing it home. When I speak to people, when I have a chance to talk to people, I tell people that if you lack self control, it means you can do anything. It means you have the capacity to drop an egg. When you drop an egg, that's the end. You can't get it back. And when you come across people that have the capacity to drop an egg in a crisis situation, I think you need to be careful with them. We all have such people around us. So the way I manage such people is I try to ensure that, I don't ever get in their way or they don't ever get in my way in relation to any form of crisis or pain or severe situations because they are forever unable to get themselves together. These are the kinds of, when you bring it to friendship, these are the kinds of friends that the day they're having a bad day in relation to your relationship with them, they begin to drop all the hot matters. I don't want to use the word secrets between you. They begin to drop it or they begin to spread it and all of those kinds of things. So it's important that you know these kinds of people and you are careful around them. Being careful and being aware of these kinds of people and setting the boundaries immediately begins to give you some rest of mind and some peace of mind in a to a large extent. So you don't necessarily need to avoid them because you might have some of them in your family or as friends or as colleagues or business associates, and you just need to work with them. So the best way to work with them is to set those boundaries. You might not even make it evident or obvious, but you are aware that you set the boundary. So you know what you tell them, you know the kinds of feedback you give to their matters, and you're just generally careful around them, even without making it obvious. Because there's nothing as terrible as you having a bad day with someone you are close to, a friend or a family member, and then they just begin to spill matters that are not supposed to be spilled out. It's difficult to take in those experiences. So the best thing is avoid, this category of people knowing so much, avoid them having so much data or information. And that would go a long way, in helping you manage those pains that they usually bring, which you can compare with dropping an egg, and then it's no longer useful. That they sort of spoil things and, make you feel really horrible. And these things happen just from people that have similar behavior as the way Burna Boy reacted during that event. He was unable to control himself, he was unable to get hold of himself. As if that was not enough, he then walks out of the event. I think that was like a critical behavior that I think his management should look deeply into. And if you see yourself, ever acting like that, it's important that you begin to think inwards and see how you can adjust and learn better ways. Because even if you're not as wealthy as he is yet, what then happens is if that is your character, your attitude, and you believe in it, you would then build on it and begin to behave like that when you become a global entity. Just like the way he behaved, that was a shameful behavior. And I think it just wasn't right. This is not me being judgmental. This is me bringing it back home. No matter the level, there are a lot of people, even in Nigeria, that their names don't trend that are extremely wealthy. There are a lot, so the fact that, somebody is trending or they are in the entertainment world doesn't just mean that they are the only people existing. So yeah, we like their music, they are doing well. We're happy for the way they are doing, the way they are putting the Nigerian name on the global map. We appreciate them for that. But then I think that behavior was really uncalled for. That behavior of his, which, like I said earlier, it's proven, because his posts just gave him off. I've got PTSD. People don't come on my stage, and the show was free. If that wasn't it, he shouldn't have even put up that post. That was indeed for me. And once again, if you think, you have the capacity not to be in control of your emotions, you are someone that is quite cantankerous, you are someone that snaps, you're someone that can afford to break an egg without thinking about the consequences. I think you should begin to look at those things because you might think it's something easy or something mild, but you don't know where you're going to be tomorrow. If you get to the global scenes, you become an international brand, you become so big, you would most likely also behave like this. So it's important that we take caution and we try to balance things and try as much as possible to embrace patience, yeah, and perseverance. It's important that you're able to suck in pain, especially as you are growing. It's a virtue, your capacity to suck in emotional stress and be graceful about your reaction goes a long way to position you better and to give you, you know, your brand a better perspective. The way people view you will be better. Always hold on to being graceful. It's important. Being graceful does it all. It doesn't mean you're not going through the pain. It doesn't mean you're not going to discuss it or you're not going to react. But then reacting in some type of way is no longer an acceptable standard when you are growing your brand, when you are moving forward, or where you are even already there. So yeah, I decided to give out my point of view regarding burnout attitude, and that is just what I think. Thank you very much, guys, for listening.